What comes next in Trump's path through 2024? The grueling campaign trail became considerably more arduous for former President Donald Trump when a New York jury found him guilty of 34 felonies. As he makes coast-to-coast appearance in the coming month to solicit votes, the 77-year-old GOP frontrunner will also need to meet with his probation officer, work on his appeal, and show off for a Manhattan sentencing hearing that carries a risk of time behind bars. And all of that pertains to just one of the 4 criminal matters that Trump will be juggling as Election Day approaches on November 5. Now, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee is also a defendant in a Florida federal case alleging he improperly handled classified documents, a federal case in the District of Columbia alleging he fueled the January 6, 2021 riot at the United States Capitol, a Georgia case claiming he illegally challenged the result of votes cast in the 2016 presidential election. Now, what follows is a closer look at how Trump's legal woes will intersect with his second White House bid over the rest of this summer, likely setting the tone for the 2024 campaign. June. This is a critical month for Trump on several fronts. On the campaign side, he will need to prepare for a primetime CNN debate with President Joe Biden on June 27th. On the legal side, though, he will likely meet with a probation officer assigned to evaluate his New York case. This is a person who will recommend to the judge a punishment befitting the defendant's crime. A jury last week found that Trump violated a New York state law that makes it illegal to conspire to sway an election of a person to public office by way of another crime. Now, jurors concluded Trump violated that law by disguising $130,000 in hush money paid to porn star Stormy Daniels as payment for legal services. Now, while Trump starts his conversation with a probation officer in New York, the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. will likely make another big decision that could have a sizable impact on all criminal matters pending against the former president. The High Court is expected to rule by the end of the month on whether Trump's immunity from persecution as president extended to his actions after the 2020 election. The argument pertains to the case in Georgia. His lawyers argue Trump can't be persecuted for trying to subvert the 2020 presidential election because the event at issue were official actions as president rather than private actions. If the High Court rules in Trump's favor, the ruling could prevent the Georgia case from going forward. It could also halt the other 2 criminal cases pending against him. July is another seismic month for Trump, starting with his sentencing in New York case on July 11. That decision will be made by Judge Juan McCann, who was in charge of the case during trial. Trump has criticized McCann as highly conflicted as the overseer of a kangaroo court. The two clashed repeatedly over the course of the trial as McCann granted Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's request to impose a gag order against the former president, and the judge fined Trump for violating those terms. In calculating Trump's sentence, the judge is permitted to take those violations into account. Now, jail time seems unlikely, however. It's uncommon for defendants convicted of Class E felonies, the lowest level type of felony, to receive a jail sentence, especially when, like Trump, the offender has no prior criminal record. Another factor favoring no jail time for the former president is his age. And some legal experts say that the potential negative impact that incarcerating a former president could have on the country also makes it more likely that Trump will be permitted to avoid incarceration. A major political event looms just days after the sentencing as the Republican National Convention begins on July 15 in Milwaukee. On July 18, Trump is expected to take the stage as the party's official nominee for president. The month of August will likely mark another critical legal deadline for Trump if he chooses to appeal the New York case, as he said he will do. Now, that filing has to within 30 days of July 11 sentencing, giving his lawyers until August 10 to prepare an argument for overturning his conviction. The appeal, which can take months or years according to legal experts, is likely to extend well beyond the November election. A successful appeal would require Trump to prove that the judge made errors during the course of the criminal case. Now, the appellate judges have discretion to overrule a trial court judge and permit the defendant to remain free pending the outcome of the appeal. Now, a ruling against Trump at the appellate court could prompt him to request a review from the U.S. Supreme Court. And the High Court could take up such a case if at least 4 of its justices agree to hear it.